Welcome back to another episode of Podcasting Mastered, a place where we celebrate our love for all things nerdy. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Wade.
On today's episode, we will be demastering Howl's Moving Castle.
About damn time.
Oh my gosh,
says
I
Wade.
know. It's crazy because we have previously talked about our love for Hayao Miyazaki's movies. We did an episode forever ago, just kind of going over our love of his movies, our favorite movies and whatnot. And then we have only covered one of his movies so far, and that was his most recent one, The Boy and the Heron.
For real, which, when we sat down to look and plan, I was devastated that that was the only singular focused episode that we had done. I was like, we haven't talked about this or this or this. And Chelsea and I just kind of looked at each other and that went straight into the calendar. The calendar.
So definitely, listeners, if you are interested in hearing us talk about all these movies, we will get to all of them eventually. But we just thought this would be a fun movie to kick off 2026 with. So Howl's Moving Castle, this is kind of his... at that point in time, this movie came out in Japan in 2004 and then was released in the US in 2005, which must have been a really limited theatrical release because I definitely remember when it was released on DVD in 2006.
Well, I remember seeing the trailers for it on TV. I remember it coming out. We didn't get to the theater a whole lot as a kid, so I didn't get to watch this in the theater when it was initially released. And I don't even remember when I finally got to watch it. I don't know.
I know it's hard for me to pinpoint that period of time, but I do believe it was at least after it came out on DVD because I remember in high school, a couple of my friends, they were freaking out about this movie, being obsessed with Howl, and I was like, what are they talking about? And I was like, oh, Howl's Moving Castle, it's another Miyazaki movie, because I definitely had already seen at that point in time Spirited Away and at least Princess Mononoke. So I had already had a good selection so far.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I had, I would rent movies prior to that point. So I had seen Spirited Away. Spirited Away used to be played on Cartoon Network all the time as a kid, which, an interesting thing, but, we took it.
Yeah.
But, Castle in the Sky. I think Castle in the Sky might have been my very first Miyazaki movie.
Yeah. Although I'm wait, I watched Kiki's Delivery Service super early too.
Oh, that was also all over Cartoon Network. All over. And they would promote those things for 2 weeks and be
cool.
They did it all the time, but it's Kiki's Delivery Service next Friday at blank o'clock, and it's whoa, that's crazy. Imagine sitting and watching commercials now, talking about an event that is the next week. That's crazy.
Yes. What a different time. Wild.
What a time to not be alive.
But yeah, so talking about Howl's Moving Castle, I believe this is probably, I would say for both of us, probably a major top Miyazaki film for us, if not.
It's my favorite.
Okay, yes.
It's, and that's hard to say because so many Miyazaki movies sit at the top of the mountain that is my favorite movies of all time. But, Howl's Moving Castle, we watched it just earlier to kind of get my heart in the right place for it. And just from the beginning, the opening sequence where it's foggy and it's kind of dark and you're ooh, it's an unsettling opening. And then you see the castle moving in the clouds, but then it opens up to the prairie and it's sunny and the castle's in the background wandering up the mountainside. And it's just oh, okay. But there's so many scenes in this movie that make me smile, just unwarranted and fill my heart up with whatever's happening. And it's just oh my gosh, I love the characters. The story, it's uncomplicated, There's not really plot twists. There's nothing to throw you around. It's all pretty straightforward, but it's a good story.
Yeah. And it's a story too where I think even though it's pretty easy to follow the story, there are a little bit of tidbits here and there where if you're not quite paying attention, you'll be when you watch it again for the third, who knows, plus times, you'll be oh, that's what that little dialogue reference is referring to, or that's what that little thing means. It's also because it's such a beautiful film to watch. There's so many things to look at, so many details. Like you said, the opening scene with the castle at the beginning, that castle is wild. It is itself a work of art, and the way they got it to move, but also just how it's set up, because it's iconic because it also has freaking chicken feet.
It does have chicken feet with its little tail door
Oh my gosh, yes. But also talking about when the movie starts, just when that music starts, it hits hard for me because it just takes me like immediately into the movie. The music, I love the music so much in this movie.
The soundtrack.
Really,
Okay, the soundtrack to this movie will be featured in the new class that I'm going to teach this semester.
Oh my gosh.
When we talk, and I did this when we did summer school. At the end of my unit on movie and TV music, I focused on Miyazaki music.
Perfect.
And we watched Spirited Away. And the kids had to do like a character profile and, the characters following the story. But then most of them had never seen a Studio Ghibli movie before. So we're talking about that. And I played them the theme song for Howl's Moving Castle. And I can't remember what it's called. Oh my gosh. Merry-Go-Round something. I can't remember. I played them the main theme and they were like, oh, that's so pretty. And of course now like that theme song is all over TikTok.
Oh.
Like it's all over. If you have like a cozy video or like a book or even a cooking one, I have heard the piano theme to Howl so much. And people most people don't even know what it's from. But we watched Howl's Moving Castle and I said, well, this movie's a little different. Like plot's a little more laid back. It's not as intense. There's not really any action scenes, but they loved Howl even more because it took them all out of their heads. Where they could just kind of like curl up on the floor and watch the movie. And they didn't realize how like cozy and just happy they were witnessing this movie for the first time. And I was like, I just want to tell them like, oh, like when this is happening, this is what this is. Or the music is signifying this. I wanted to tell them so much, but I was like, nope, I'm going to let them I got to let them just be.
Yeah.
Like, look at them right now. I have to let them just live. So I look forward to getting to do that again so much.
That'll be really special.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, talking about how, this movie does feel very different in a lot of ways, because I do agree that there are some darker moments, but overall this movie is really funny. It has a lot of silly comedic moments.
Well, and a lot of it is just simply because of the voice actors, It's how the voice actors step into the role and say the things that they have. It's not like what they say that's funny, it's how they say it, Yeah. Like if you take Calcifer out of this, if you take the voice of Calcifer out of this movie, like you're missing a huge portion.
Yes. Which we could probably briefly go over the like very rough overview of the story and talking about the cast, because I mean, I honestly have only ever listened to the English dub of this, like or watched it. Yeah. Same. But the cast is really interesting, talking about, so our main character is Sophie. So in the Japanese version, it is only one actress who does her voice, but in the
which is wild.
But in the American version, they give it to two different people, because our character has both her like older self and as well as her younger self, and so those two characters are played by it's the two voices of the same character. It's Emily Mortimer and Gene Simmons. So you have a really classic,
but not that Gene Simmons.
No,
not that Gene Simmons.
No,
there's an old actress, Gene Simmons.
Yes.
Not Kiss.
Correct. And then Emily Mortimer, who is a lot younger of an actress. Well, I mean, she's actually been in a lot. Yeah, at the time. Yes, at the time. But she's definitely has been in quite a few movies recently and stuff. And then Howl himself is Christian Bale.
And it suits Howl so much, because Howl is a wizard, but he is like a ladies' man. He's beautiful. He's quiet. He's reserved. He's so upper class. And he uses his magic to be that way. Like, that's who he is. So Christian Bale voice, and it's like quiet, reserved Christian Bale, not excited Christian Bale, just very relaxed Christian Bale, and that just suits Hal.
Yeah.
But there's so many times where like, oh my, you have to rewind it. Like, oh my God, what did Hal just say? Because he speaks fully with his chest. It's just so quiet sometimes.
Yes.
I'm like, damn it.
That is so true. Because it's been a long time since I've seen, like, I knew who some of these characters were, like, because I've always done, like, talking about Calcifer. That is Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And the wild one that the kids will know. The wild one is Little Markle.
Yes.
And it's crazy, really quick. It's crazy when you go back into like all of these older Ghibli movies and you're looking at the English voice cast and the amount of actors and actresses that people know these days. that were voice acting for these movies when they were teeny tiny little things. Like Markle, who is Howl's little baby boy apprentice. Yeah. He's played by a little baby boy, Josh Hutcherson.
Which this is like wild. One of his very early roles.
Yes.
This is before he was even in movies, like the year before, which is crazy. And I did not realize it. I actually, because I watched this on the DVD version, and the special features, I watched those last night. And the little interview with him is so adorable. Just talking about being so animated, talking about getting into character, doing the voice acting. It was great.
He's such a baby.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But now he's our age. Now he's old.
But for real, yeah. It's just crazy. And then another interesting character, one of our other kind of main characters, is the Witch of the Waste, is voiced by Lauren Bacall. So another really iconic old school Hollywood actress.
It's crazy how old school tons of these actors and actresses get. They pull from the little ones. They go into like the legends. Like who is the casting director for Ghibli films? Because they know.
Yeah, it's so true. And this is an interesting period of time because a lot of Miyazaki's movies that were released in the US with this English dub version were in partnership in conjunction with Disney. Because they had a thing. So Disney had their own casting. So they're the ones who were actually pulling all these people, which kind of makes sense because we do see in some of his later movies as well, people that are related to / involved in like Disney things. Like in later movies, you'll see like Miley Cyrus's sister is involved in one of the movies and stuff like that. And like Jonas Brothers stuff. But then you have, like we said, like a lot of old school Hollywood actresses or actors and people who were kind of big at the time as well. But it's all over the place. It's really cool to see because a lot of these people, this is their first time doing voice work, but they make so many iconic characters what they are.
They do. And a lot of these, especially like the younger ones, a lot of them go on to like not voice act, or even the adult ones like Christian Bale. Like he voice acts a tiny bit. He actually, wasn't he in Boy and the Heron? Wasn't he the dad?
Yeah.
It's crazy that they bring back people too. Because again, it's like he's not that much of a voice actor,
Yeah.
Although maybe they'll bring back Josh Hutcherson someday.
That would be fun. But yeah, so with Howl's Moving Castle and the story, so it's like a very loosely based / like kind of very loose adaptation of a novel of the same name by Diana Wynne Jones, which that novel came out in 1986. I didn't realize it was quite that old, but it's all part of a series. I read the book years ago and I remember enjoying it, but it's also like it's its own thing. Like the movie takes like the basic ideas of the characters and stuff, but the story takes a completely different direction. I have not finished the book. I started it, I don't know, like maybe 2 years ago. I need to go back and finish it. There's a lot of things from where I stopped there that are like spot on. Like, this happened like literally word for word. And sometimes the movie just kind of like simplifies things or like combines characters or, things that movies do. But they weren't, I feel like he absolutely did not set out to make a movie version of the book. He saw a piece of art and he said, how do I make it mine? Yes.
It inspired him to do something differently. And a lot of it is like the themes that he included in the movie are absolutely Miyazaki themes. I mean, like, did you see the thing about how when they were like deciding what's the next movie gonna be, and he decided what it was gonna be, and he actively chose it because he thought that Americans would not like it because at the time when we were at war with the Middle East after 9/11.
Yeah,
like a lot of his stuff, it's very anti-war. It's very pacifistic. He really pushes those buttons in Howl's Moving Castle, and the whole thing, like, like when Sophie looks up and sees the battleship, she's like, oh my god, is that ours or the enemy's? And Howl's like, what does it matter? They're murderers regardless, Yeah. He really pushes some buttons, and he did that on purpose because I guess he had a lot of like rage in regards to like seeing the America versus Middle Eastern war. And he wanted to include his own personal like emotions in that. But also getting older, which again, and that's a theme that you can like, well, kids get older and then adults get older and then old people get older. But, he had a young lady go straight to being an old woman via a curse, but he chose to make that a very positive thing for Sophie. It freed her. It freed her from her life and her responsibilities so she could be who she wanted to be without having to worry about everything else.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to see that. And that's the way that we see her character growth. Because, yeah, Sophie, our main character, you see her like really hard at work at her job. She works as a hat maker. It's what her family business is. And she's the one who's always just like focused on that, not willing to like go out and hang out with everybody else. And then while she's like going back to work after one day, a lady comes in the shop and she's like, hey, shop's closed. And you're introduced to what a woman, the witch of the waste with attitude.
With attitude, sass and attitude.
Like this tacky shop and this tacky little girl. And so he's like, you need to leave. And she's like, you know who I am? I am the witch of the waste.
And then, of course, Sophie at that point is like, oh my God. Like,
I made a mistake.
Regrets
Yes.
were made.
And then, so she's immediately, cursed by her. And the witch of the waste is like, bye. And you see her,
Peace out, Girl Scout.
Yeah. Oh, man. And you see her transform into an old woman, which Sophie immediately does freak out because, yes, of course, it's a surprise. But
That's
then
fair.
you get her character, who I think is so funny. At this point, she just immediately just continuously talks to herself out loud.
Once she's old, she's just like, she's
like,
just
whatever.
talking to herself all the time.
Yeah. And like, there's nothing wrong with Sophie. And like, but she just has this negative view of herself. So when she sees herself turn into an old woman, she's like, it is what it is. That's what I am.
Could be worse.
I'm an old woman, whatever. Yeah.
At least I still got my teeth.
Yes. But even at the very beginning of the movie, we are introduced to our other our other main character, who is we get that meet cute. It is with Howl and Sophie, because even before Sophie gets cursed, she's just walking around trying to go visit her sister. And because where they live is at war, there's soldiers around, and the soldiers, that is creepy dialogue.
That is creepy dialogue.
OMG.
Oh, I think she's even cuter when she's scared.
Yeah. I was
earlier he said that and I was like, red flag, get out of there, girl.
Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden Howl comes out of nowhere and helps her get out of that situation. But then Sophie realizes, oh my gosh, was that Howl?
Yeah, it's so funny because like Howl and the Witch of the Waste, they are prominent figures in society. They're terrifying. Like, you are not to go near them. They're magic. They, Howl will, if you're a pretty girl, Howl will eat your heart. And the Witch of the Waste, she's just a bitch. Like, stay away from them. And Sophie's, who's just so very much just repressed into herself, like, I'm just this girl. I don't really care. Yeah. Like, whatever, dude. She meets Howl and it's just like, oh, here we go. Like once, he goes off with her, he's like, I'll escort you to the bakery. I'm being followed though. Like, just walk. We're good. Yeah. Like, you just keep doing what you're doing. But that segment though, when they're like running from, like, well, not running. Yes. Nonchalantly walking quickly away from the henchman. And then he like brings them up into the air, right? Mm-hmm. And they do like the wind walking. Oh, yes. Like, that's like one of the first moment that like sets my heart on fire. Like, he's just like holding her hands up and just like, all you got to do is walk. And then they like go across the city and you get all of the shots of the city with them like walking in the background and stuff. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's also just such a cool introduction to Howl, because it's just like, he's just so smooth and chill and also just very powerful, but he's like charming.
So nonchalant, like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh man, it really is so beautiful. All the shots, like, there are certain moments where I think even just watching it, when I watched it again, where I was like, wow, just taking a moment to enjoy it. Because I mean, that's with every single Miyazaki film. Like, it's not just putting like details and just like the characters moving. Like, the backgrounds are their own things. There's so much going on, so many detail into the buildings, to just the landscape, to the people.
Even like the sky and the mountains and the water sometimes, and that's a good thing about the Ghibli movies, is that so often it's like, like, there's nothing happening right now. You're supposed to just be enjoying it. You get whatever shot you're seeing and then the music on top, like, this is what you're watching. This is the art. Please enjoy it.
Yeah, it is too, because I think really at the beginning of the movie, there is very little dialogue. It's just for those couple moments where we see those events happen. And then once Sophie has the curse put on her, she's like, okay, I need to go figure out this curse and I'm going to go after Howl, basically. So she like leaves town she's in and goes in search and then stumbles across the castle and is like, fine. But along the way, she continuously talks to herself and it's so freaking funny. And then she also meets another character who I absolutely love.
Turnip Head.
Turnip Head, oh my gosh. Which is a scarecrow. And he doesn't talk or anything. He just hops around, but he's always getting stuck in places and she has to help him get out. So she helps him, and it's a really random encounter, it seems, but he does keep popping up every once in a while throughout the story. Just hang out or be helpful. He's also freaking adorable.
And you know, it's so funny because in Stardew Valley, you can get a scarecrow that looks just like him.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I love it.
That's so good. But then, yes, when Sophie gets into the castle and you get introduced to everybody that's at the castle, you don't even get reintroduced to Howl quite yet. Calcifer, our iconic fire that is more than just a fire, but is the one that keeps the castle together, keeps it moving, has such a little attitude. Definitely a little fireball. But Sophie's like, I'm an old woman. I don't take crap from anybody. You're just going to do what I want you to do. And that's how it's going to be.
Like Sophie gets in and at the end of the day and she's like sleeping in front of the fire and she gets introduced to Calcifer and he's like, I am the fire demon Calcifer. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go sleep.
Yeah. And then she's like, you're a fire. Let's make some breakfast.
Yeah, the next morning you get introduced to Markle.
Oh my gosh,
and
yes.
and the door, the magic door.
Yes.
That's like the back door is connected to like all these other doors throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
And Howl basically like pretends to be like so many other wizards so that he can live and be free, but people can come and see him for like magical remedies and whatever the heck. But Markle is like the apprentice, which he has a little old man disguise.
Love that so
I
much.
love it.
Stand
so
by.
He's actually the one that's like helping people. Yeah, stand by.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, helping people. But then he's like, hey, old lady, what are you doing here?
Yeah, he's so like they're just so like not worried about this little old lady who's wandered in from the wastes. You know, like
no big deal.
Whatever.
They're just like, are you a witch? And she's like, no, but I can be if you want me to be. Yeah.
But basically, like Sophie's gonna like stay as the cleaning lady, but like she doesn't tell Howl that they've met before. It's not important. She's just there.
No.
Although there's a part of her curse where she can't talk about her curse.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, that would make it a little difficult. But yeah, then Howl comes in while she's bullying Calcifer into like heating up breakfast for them. I love that.
Oh, it's so funny. And then he's like, let me help with this, and just slides on in there. It's like,
literally
hand me the eggs and the bacon. Yep. Oh my gosh.
Give me 2 more pieces of that bacon and 6 more eggs.
Yeah.
And then you get to watch him make the food, and it's like one of the best parts of Ghibli movies is watching the food. Oh my god.
Yes. It's something so simple as just eggs and bacon, but it's made to look absolutely delicious.
Like that bacon always looks crazy. It's so huge and thick. Like, okay.
Yes. But yeah, we get introduced to basically the start of our little cute found family. That's really what this movie is about.
Indeed. Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it's and everybody who ends up being with them is there to like help Sophie see herself in a better light, because you know she's so concerned or not concerned depending on the moment and time with finding a fix to the curse. And you know, like, and Howl knows that she's cursed. Like he's Howl, he can see it, but you know he's not worried about it because Sophie isn't worried about it. So she's there with him and he's there with everybody else. But I love, like, after finishing the movie and knowing like, oh, the only thing Sophie needs to do to like fix the curse is to love herself, basically.
Yes.
You know, which the Witch of the Waste would not understand that. You know, she bumps into the Witch of the Waste later on in the movie, and the witch is like, I can't fix your curse. I know how to cast them. I don't know how to fix them. That's your business. But then going back through and seeing the moments in the movie where Sophie is filled with confidence and starts to see herself in different ways. Those small moments where you see her turn slightly, just ever so slightly back into her younger self. Sometimes it's nothing but like a posture change.
Yes.
Sometimes like her ponytail gets longer, like it was when she was little. There's or like less wrinkles in her face. There's all of these little things that really help, like, that grow the emotional connection between Sophie and the world around her.
Yeah, those moments are really, really neat of how those are incorporated, and to pay attention to what's happening in those moments. And yeah, with that confidence and that self-love. And then we see her sometimes just immediately come back to the old woman when she just doubts things, or just like, that's just who I am. And you see those moments too where like Howl reacts to that, where he almost seems happy with her figuring out like and being happy with herself. And then it's more of, no, she comes back down and just, it's all that doubt for herself. And he's like, we'll try again later type thing.
Or like, you know, when after she starts staying with Howl and she's cleaning and she's taking care of everybody in her sleep, she's usually completely young. She's completely back to herself. Because I think she is so self-fulfilled. You know, by the end of the day and her in that restful sleep, I think she's so self-fulfilled that the magic wears off. And then the second she wakes up and her consciousness is back, then we go back to old Sophie. But I love the writing and I love the details and all of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's something too. It's not even just Sophie also learning to love herself, but she also learns to love others as well, and to see those relationships grow, whether they are just like that friendship or that quite of that familial aspect, or love as in a romance potentially for another person.
Oh, I love her and Markle. Yes. We're like, you know, and it's funny because Markle treats her like an old lady, because to him she is, but like he takes care of her.
Yes.
He's always carrying her stuff. He's always like helping her walk. You know, it's like, Markle.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The one part, and that's so funny too, is where Sophie is like, I have had it. I am making myself this self-proclaimed cleaning lady. This place is a dump. Men living together, and like they just don't know how to keep things clean. Yeah. So she like goes crazy, and Markle is like, wait, you're going upstairs? Oh my gosh, no, please don't go to my room. Let me fix this first. And she's like, I'm coming. And then you see him like scrambling, be like, please go to my room last, please.
If there's anything you don't want me to clean, you better hide it now.
Yeah. And he keeps being like, are you sure you're not a witch? And she's like, yes, I am the absolute worst kind. I'm the kind that cleans. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Man. And you know, and a lot of like Sophie's older stuff is like from the voice actress, you know?
Yes. There are so many lines for her. And yes, it's the way they're said too. Because even earlier when she's in the waist and she's trying to get into the castle and her like shawl blows away in the wind, she's like, my shawl. And then Turnip Head brings it back. It's like, oh, you found my shawl. Thank you. Oh, man. But yeah, we see like those are our initial characters. But then, yeah, like the Witch of the Waste keeps coming back. And she's one of those characters, too, we're mentioning about like appearance wise. And you also see it with Howl as well, where they use their magic to make themselves look how they think other people would perceive them, what they find as beautiful as they hide behind their magic. And for Howl specifically, he learns it's all about it's an accident for Sophie to clean up his mess, but apparently the mess had an order to it. And he's freaks out because his potions didn't work for his beautiful blonde hair, and his hair eventually changes to like a black color. And he literally has a tantrum, a literal meltdown of himself being like, how am I supposed to live? I am ugly.
He legit, I love his little temper tantrum because of like how the castle and Calcifer and all of that is tied specifically to his being. He legit is like, what's the point of living if I can't be beautiful? And he starts to just literally give up on life. And the castle immediately starts reflecting that. He's summoning like these like dark shadow demons. He's doing like twisting reality, becoming gloop. He's just like a mess. And Sophie, good for her. Yeah. She throws her own little fit about like, so what, she can't be beautiful. Like, I've never been beautiful a day in my life. Like, so get over yourself. And then just like runs out, you know? Like, good for her. But then Turnip Head comes with an umbrella. Yes. She's crying. She calms down. She goes right back inside and like, we're fixing this situation. Yes. Like, everybody just cut the theatrics. Let's just move on with our lives.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we also see, like, yes, mentioning, like I said before, about like the beauty and stuff elements for the Witch of the Waste, because she's all kind of been like, yeah, all stuck up, gave Sophie the curse, has been all like, Howl's mine, I am hot stuff with all my beauty elements. But we see her because this is still during an actual war. There are soldiers about, there are warplanes everywhere, there's bombings happening, and the king of the area is like, if you were a witch or wizard that lives under my rule, like, you need to serve me. And Howl is one of those people that took that oath, and so they're told to report to the king's palace and to do what they can to help the war effort. And Howl the whole time is like, yeah, another time. And Sophie's like, you know what, how about I go in your stead, and we can like say you're a bum, you're a child, you're you're a scaredy cat, you can't do this, I have to be your mother to say that you can't do this. And she goes there, and the Witch of the Waste is there as well. And
finally receiving her royal invitation.
Yes, finally. And you get this crazy scene of them having to go up a million stairs to get to the castle because you can't use magic and you can't get up. And this is also where we get introduced to the dog, who at that point, Howl had told Sophie, I'll be with you at some point. Like, don't worry, I'll be around. And she sees this dog and she's like, well, first she sees like two other people and she's like, there's no way that's Howl. And then she sees like
the pigeons. Pigeons, and she's like, well, that's definitely not Howl because he's way too flamboyant to be a pigeon.
Yeah, and then there's a plane that flies by with like a woman and like a guy, and she's like, yeah, that's probably him. Yeah. And then she sees the dog and she's like, Howl? Wait, is that you? And
like, he's like, that's absolutely Howl. Because he's being like
wheezing and like coughing and stuff and just being goofy. And so she's like, okay, let's go up these stairs. And the dog is like, I have short legs, I can't get up the stairs. So she's freaking carrying a dog up all these stairs, kind of racing the Witch of the Waste up these stairs, like successfully winning.
We haven't really talked a lot about like the Witch of the Waste, but she is a very, very large woman who uses magic to kind of like not look as big as she actually is, but she has lived in like luxury and power for so long, and she uses magic to do absolutely everything. Which is why she is so big, but she has no stamina, she has no strength in her body. So the fact that she has to walk up all of these completely like breaks down her like magical illusions. She is a sweaty, heapy mess, like literally just a pile on the floor by the time she gets up there.
Yeah. And it's something interesting you see too at this moment too, because like Sophie cares about other people, and you see that a lot, like, because she never wants to like take that moment to think about herself, care about that self-love. It's always, caring for others. And so she gets to the top of the stairs and she's like, sees the Witch of the Waste down there, and she's at first like, haha. And then she's like, well, no, come on, you can do it, and starts cheering her on. And so they can go in together. But of course, all this meeting at the castle and meeting with like the Madame Solomon and stuff, it's not what it appears to be. And it's a big trap and trick to steal everybody's magical abilities. So the Witch of the Waste, she's put in a very compromising position. Like, she's exhausted after going all those up those stairs. She sits in a chair and is trapped in a room and gets all of her powers zapped away. And so because she has no magic, she is no longer hidden behind that magic. You see her as a very frail, really, really old woman, just reduced to that state. And just then you have craziness ensue with a little battle and the reveal, and Howl does appear.
We get there, yeah. Sophie gets to meet directly with Madame Solomon, and you find out that the dog was not Howl. It's actually her dog,
yeah, her
little errand dog, and Sophie's like, wow. Like, I just carried you up all those steps and you weren't even Howl.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, I'm Mrs. Pendragon. I'm Howl's mother. And la-di-da-di-da, like, he sucks. I'm so sorry, but he's not going to get to come. And Solomon is like, oh, well, that's a pity. And she just plays right into it. Until Sophie kind of gives herself away. Like, Madame Solomon kind of sees Sophie start to transform back into herself. And Solomon's like, I know what this is. And then the king comes in and is all like, I'm going to do away with magic. We're not using magic. And like, oh, it's nice to meet you, Mrs. Pendragon. And Solomon, I love how nonchalant and chill Solomon's just like, oh, Your Majesty, you're talking so eloquently today. It's nice to see you. So and then like the actual king walks in and he's all like, her, Solomon, her. And Howl's just like, ah. And because like, this other king is Howl.
Yes.
And like also like the king walks in and like looks at himself and it's just like, Solomon, you're so funny. And just like walks out. And Solomon's just like, oh, I thought you'd like it. And then he shuts the door and she looks right at Howl and she's like, oh, Howl, it's so nice to see you again. Yeah. And Howl's like, ah. But yeah, they do have to make an escape for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that gets all crazy. But yeah, then it really just becomes a movie more about Sophie trying to save Howl.
Mm-hmm.
And you deal with this whole continuous war going on and the fighting, and you get to learn more about Howl's backstory that everybody keeps alluding to. There's something going on with his connection with Calcifer, and you get flashback / time travel.
Yeah, well, you know, Howl kind of like recreates the castle. He does all of these things to like give everybody a good life, because he's been slowly transforming into like this big monster, this kind of big bird monster throughout the movie. And he's like, well, someday I'm not going to get to like turn back. I won't be me anymore.
Yeah.
And Sophie's like, that's not okay. You can't just like, you're giving us gifts. You're creating a perfect home. You're doing all these things, but like, I don't want that. I want you. And it's like, oh my Lord. Because Howl doesn't want to talk about those things and accept that reality, because that reality would hurt Sophie, you know, and that's not who Howl is.
Yeah. And yeah, talking about, trying to make everybody happy too, Howl has to make more space because they keep adding more to their family, because after they escape, the Witch of the Waste comes to stay with them, as well as the dog.
As well, yeah, like the dog turns traitor and leaves. Leaves with Sophie. But of course, it's a Ghibli movie. You need lots of little animal companions, you know?
Of course, yes. I think that dog's so funny. Maybe it's like, oh, you carried me up the stairs. I guess I'll go with you guys. You seem cool.
Yeah, right? Like, oh, you're nice to me.
Yeah. But, I mean, it really is just a beautiful and fun movie. And it really comes to a big conclusion, a big, you know, Sophie basically saving Howl through love. And we get our family living together, and we also get to see what the heck what's going on with Turniphead, which it's mentioned early in the movie as like a thing, like there's a prince missing, oh my gosh, this war's going on, there's all this blah blah blah. Well,
he's like, the reason for the war is because the prince in the other country has gone missing. So they're at war, I guess, like, oh, like this other country did it, whatever. But yeah, you find out because, like, you know, the whole like true love's kiss thing.
Yes.
Sophie kisses Turniphead and he turns into the prince. He is the prince this whole time. And the prince is just like, oh, this war going on? Don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
I'll talk to father immediately.
Yes, like no big deal. But then you see him like talking the Witch of the Waste about like love, because after like Sophie had kissed him, she goes over to Howl to be like, Howl, are you okay? And the Witch of the Waste is like, well, I see that was your true love, but I'm sorry, I think she has her true love, but hey, I'm available. Kind of a joke there.
It's she, like, the Witch of the Waste, when she's like not being a piece of crap, she's so funny.
Yes, so then the war does end, and the castle gets, because at one point the castle is completely destroyed and it has to deal with, you know, the state of Howl. And at the end, they rebuild it and they make it into a beautiful flying castle where they all live happily together.
And you know, and
the music starts playing.
And the music starts playing. You'll understand this someday, but the ending of like that kind of scene from Howl's Moving Castle is very, very similar to the ending of Final Fantasy VIII, where it's like we got through this whole huge thing where like people thought people were dead, and then there was like love and happiness, and it saved everybody, and then it's like, now we're finally together the way we're supposed to be. But also you have Howl's Moving Castle flying, and in 8 you have like a thing flying, and like the two main characters are like out on the balcony, like together overlooking, all of this beautiful stuff that's happening. And then like everything zooms out and like as they like start to kiss, they're very similar, which is quite wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which because Final Fantasy VIII came out in like 1999, maybe 98, but I think it was 99. So I wondered if like Miyazaki, because I don't imagine Miyazaki played Final Fantasy. But
it doesn't quite seem like a gamer.
Or maybe that's such a trope. Maybe that was such a thing that was happening in Japanese media. Maybe that was just very, very popular. I don't know. But it always makes me happy because it's like, to me, it's like
parallel. Yeah.
Well, and the plot to 8 is it's a huge love story. Very similar to 9, but like not similar to 9. That it does not mimic the love story of Howl, but it gives me very samesies vibes. So the fact that their endings, like cinematically, are very familiar to each other, it's like, okay, cool.
That's funny. Yeah. I know. I'll play that eventually.
We'll get to that one.
Yes, we'll get to that
eventually.
We have some other Final Fantasy things to discuss before that.
Yes, we do. But yeah, so if you haven't seen Howl's Moving Castle, make yourself a cozy dinner some night and turn it on. You can watch like all the Ghibli movies on Max, on HBO, whatever it's called in 2 weeks.
Yes, it's really nice to have those available. Yeah, on a streaming service.
You remember the dark days?
Oh yes, that's why it was always exciting. That's why I have the DVDs when I get them.
It used to be, unless it was weirdly playing on, unless there was a Ghibli movie playing on Cartoon Network, which was all of like 3 or 4 different movies. Really, it was so hard to watch these things because when they came out on DVD, they were so expensive. And like you couldn't go to a store and buy them because like Walmart didn't have them, Best Buy didn't have them. Not until they went into like mass production mode. But that didn't happen until like, I don't know, we were in college-ish.
Probably.
Something like that.
But yeah, this one, of course, we highly recommend, yes, if you haven't seen this movie. And like we said, yes, it's definitely more widely available now. Check out. Let us know, too, which other movie you would like us to cover next. We will eventually cover all of Miyazaki's movies, but if there's one that is your favorite and you want us to talk about next, please let us know. But with that, I think that'll do it for this episode.
Yep. And that's it for another episode of Podcast Demastered.
If you enjoyed hanging out with us today, don't forget to follow and subscribe, leave us a review, and tell a friend.
If you have an episode idea, send us an email at demasteredpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook @PodDemastered.
Thanks for listening, and tune in for the next time we demaster our favorite things on Podcast Demastered.